Hi everyone. I liked your last slide where it said not all geekery. This bit isn't going to be as geeky, I promise. So I'll start with the basics. What is a broken link? Sounds a simple thing, but I often get asked, what on earth are you talking about? So it's when you click on a link and it doesn't go anywhere. There can be many reasons that this happens. You can get the 404 error, wonderful. The website's been permanently moved or no longer exists. The software's behind a firewall, or an improper URL's been entered to start with. So there are many reasons why something could be called a broken link or a dead link. And another term you might have heard that's relevant is link rot. It's a term used to describe sites with dozens of broken links, which I imagine many of our sites can be called. So why should you care? Because this is why I'm here. Because it's really annoying, it's really frustrating, it's inconvenient, and it's definitely not user-friendly. Why would people want to come back to your site when they spend time looking for the same thing over and over again? They know it's there, but they can't find it. The link you gave them doesn't work again. It's quite frustrating. Checking broken links can also have a practical impact. If you work in the organisation, it can provide a good reason to reassess your collections, find out what's in them, because I find when I do ours, you find all this new information when you're trying to find the updated link. It can make your collections more relevant and, yeah, just ensure that they're really accessible. And as somebody was talking to me the other day about this, they were saying we all adhere to the continuum model here, where we're supposed to be thinking that records are forever existing. Why don't we think of links like this as well? We think of them as this one-off thing that we use and then we forget about it. That's not what they're there for. They should be working permanently. A final thing before I go into my emotive reasons as to why you should care about broken links is there was a paper back in 2012 by Gavin McCarthy and Joanne Evans on principles for archival information services in the public domain. And there were 10 principles included of public knowledge spaces, and numbers 2, 3, and 4 were evidential, persistent, and meaningful through time and resilient. And when we have broken links, we do not meet any of those principles. And I'm certainly sure it affects some of the other ones as well. So it's important to think that, yeah, we're not adhering to the standards that we set ourselves when we allow for heaps of broken links to be on our sites. But there is a more evocative reason, perhaps, as to why you should care about broken links. And I hope that this may be the difference to make you go off and perhaps try and fix your broken links. So as it's been mentioned, I work on the Find and Connect web resource. I'm the Project Archivist there. For those who haven't heard of us before, it's an online knowledge base with comprehensive information about the history of institutional care in Australia. The website has entries about homes, orphanages, care provider organisations, laws, policies, and key events that happen that put children into care. It contains links to photos, newspaper articles, and to other online resources. And importantly, it contains information about records and where people can access them. We document the archival records that exist, so the collections that we know about and the items and series in as much detail as we can provide, really. It helps people interpret their records and understand their history and identity by using the historical context provided. And for Find and Connect, broken links is one of the key challenges we face. We have 16,000 pages on Find and Connect, and show you. Oh, there we go. So we have 45,162 links on the site when I did the latest link check. 1,518 of them are considered to be broken. That's not true, I will admit. We use Xenu Link Sleuth. It's not the best tool. If anybody has a better one, feel free to let me know and I will be happy to try it out. But it really does highlight the amount of time, effort, and energy that we go into fixing these links and to improving them. They really will just keep going. There's about 490 out of the 1,500 that I will actually need to go through and manually check and improve or fix, depending on what we find out. But I will, as I have told a few people, I will confirm, I'm not here to name and shame any organisations. I'm hoping you can't really read any of the ones that are coming up in too much detail. And remember, 1,000 of them won't be broken, so it's good. But it's, yeah, any examples I give are truthful, but I will keep the names out of them. So here are an example of some of the 404 errors that come up when people click on the broken links. These are the kind of pages they see. And some error messages are better than others. I like the ones with images. I do like the ones that say sorry as well. I don't like the ones that imply blame on the user. It's not really a great start. It probably is our fault that these links aren't working. It's probably not their fault. The chances of them typing the link in incorrectly is probably smaller than us having a link that doesn't work. So the reason I'm using Find and Connect as an example of this is because back in 2012, we did usability testing on Find and Connect, and something really important and surprising came out of this is that broken links have a really big impact on this user group. They give us quotes like this in our testing. Are they trying to hide something? I've been led astray. There's a huge trust issue. They think the government can be hiding the information. Other quotes included, that's what we've been coming up with all our lives, no information, I can't do this. Links have got to go where they say they are going, not to other pages and not broken. So it really has a different meaning to this group of people. Like, I just get annoyed, but now I'm passionately annoyed for these people who have these feelings. I didn't know were really out there. And this was just because I was having animation fun with the PowerPoint, not gonna lie. We'll see if this works too. Yeah. So trust really can be easily broken. And the broken links do have the power to re-traumatize these people. So if there's no way to create a direct or permanent link to the content, the open access nature of that record, even if it's only a catalogue record, is minimised. It really questions, did the content mean anything in the first place? I've seen links that are broken to state apologies to former state wards. Really important things that we shouldn't be trying to hide, and if anything, should be more available rather than less. I got in contact with that particular organisation, and they did say, we're really sorry, there's no way to get a permalink to this content. So the best they could give me was a permalink to a document where the apology was on page 40. So I think that kind of highlights possibly the level of care that people have for links and how they might be used. But if that apology meant something more to you, it was personally to you, and then you got that link and you couldn't even find it to start with because you had to scroll 40 pages. Why would you scroll 40 pages? Yeah, it just has this different meaning and shows a new importance to it. And I think particularly for us as archivists, it's about the information about the records that are out there. We should be trying to make this as accessible as possible, not trying to hide it, not trying to remove it in any way. Every time you change a link, the chances are that you've lost somebody who had that link before. So it's really important that we try not to break the links. And because then we play a role in brushing this history under the carpet. The broken links can cause the knowledge to be more easily forgotten than found. And what we link to and what we reference from Find and Connect as sources is always content that shouldn't be forgotten. So, some more upbeat thoughts. There are solutions out there. We should be using them. There's persistent or permanent links. There's a thing called robust links. There are redirects. I love people who redirect. If you get a new site, redirect your old site to the new one. We love that. Then we have a chance to find that you have a new site, put the new links in. User communication is great as well. When you tell us, I believe it was State Records of WA, positive, so I'm going to name them. They actually got in contact specifically with us and told us that they would be changing their systems and said, I want you to be aware, in about 2 months' time, our old site won't be available anymore, so you need to change your links prior to then so that they won't be broken. That, amazing. I love that. We all have about pages. We all have places where we could put this information. There is a large cultural institution that has permalinks available, but only if you email them. If you use the links directly off the site, they're not going to last. They won't be usable again. But if you email them, they will give you a permalink that you can then work out for the rest of their site how you can permalink every page. Why can't they make it available? I don't know. I've tried to ask. But it's simple things like that. How hard would it be to put a paragraph on an about page and say, hey, if you want a permalink to this, use this. This is the way you can set it up. So I just think there's some really simple things that can be done. And I know IT guys don't like the redirects because our IT guy goes, you've got a lot of redirects on your site. And we go, yeah, because we don't want broken links. And we're definitely not perfect. You will find broken links on our site, but do let us know and we will fix them. But it's all about trying to minimise the amount that are out there. And one thing we realised with the number of links that are broken on our site, and always will be, like I said, currently there's probably at least 450 because I'm here talking to you guys rather than fixing them, is that we decided we need to advocate about this because it takes a lot of time to fix these links. And if all of your organisations spend the amount of time that I do fixing our links, that's a lot of wasted time and a lot of manpower that should be going to better things. Whereas if we just thought about these simple things before, we would be able to not waste our time on that and spend it on more important things. I have to mention content drift. I quite like the phrase. It's not continental drift, which if you Google it is what comes up. But it is when the resource, so you click a link and the content you thought was there isn't there anymore because they've decided to keep the link but completely change the content. That doesn't work either. So we have this quite a bit with histories, particularly of organisations, especially recently since the Royal Commission into Child Abuse. A lot of organisations have decided to change their histories on us, possibly for the better. In light of the news, they kind of gloss over certain facts and things. And I get in contact with them and say, you used to have this really great information that we cited as a source on our site. Is there any chance you could put it back into your history or your about page? Or, and one organisation got back to me and said, no, we don't want that mentioned anymore. And I had to get back and say, you do know there's a thing called the Wayback Machine because we now use the Wayback links. So if content drift happens, and we're no longer able to access the information that we've cited as a source, we will use the link from the Wayback Machine instead. We will put a paragraph in and state it's a Wayback Machine link. It was taken from a certain date, and this is why, but it would just be nice if the content was left there to start with. So yes, I would just like to point out that keeping the link but changing the content, probably not a solution that I go with. And as I mentioned before, I think the best place to start, and probably the simplest for everyone, like I said, it can be a lot of manpower to start fixing these broken links. You're probably going to need to get chatting to your IT gurus, as I like to call them, to try and organise redirects or get permalinks established, all these kind of things. But changing that 404 error to say sorry as a starting point, not putting the blame or the emphasis on the user, but actually accepting it as the organisation. Yeah, our bad. It probably is our fault. So just say sorry and then say, have you thought about trying a few of these ideas? Which often sends you off to the search page or the home page or a sitemap or something like that. But yeah, any of those, it's good to start with sorry. So I really just want to say, yeah, we are archivists. information professionals, and we can and we need to be doing better, we all know about these solutions. We've known about them for years. We know how to put them into place, particularly if we're working in large organisations. There'll be many people there who know how to do this. But as you can see, I have added a disclaimer because I do talk to a lot of the people whose links I fix. And I always say, oh, is there any chance you're going to change these or put a redirect on or something like this? And I know, and like I've said before with the permalink example, I know that many of you are trying to do these things and it's not possible. Perhaps your system doesn't allow for a permanent link, or it's not possible to redirect, or something happened and yeah, it's not possible. But don't just forget about it. Remember it for when you update that system or when you upgrade it. Think of it as a priority, that these need to be thought about so that the links are permanent. People aren't going to get content drift. You're going to leave what you've said is where it is. Yeah, so I just wanted to not bag everyone out. So thank you. I hope that in the future, if you get an email plea from me, that the link fixes or permalink, you'll understand where it's coming from. And I know that I just really want to make that incredibly important information more accessible and permanently available to the people that it needs to be. Thank you.
So Nicola, you spoke about obviously the broken links and the ability of those to re-traumatise or add to the trauma of, in this case, former care leavers. Thank you. What do you feel about, and I guess something else that I don't usually consider is the ability of, say, a catalogue search to re-traumatise or a records listing to traumatise? Could you comment on that, please?
Yeah, so it's particularly, I guess, in terms of that, you're probably, the catalogue record is the closest thing they can access to their record at that time before they go through the really long application process to access records. So if they're getting an error message before they even get to that, why are they even going to try and apply for their records? You're automatically putting a block, like you're stopping them think that this is something they can access and think that it's something easily accessible. And so, yeah, sometimes it's images and things as well. And it might even be a photo of them as a child, and yet the link's broken so they can't see it. But, I mean, we have a thumbnail, so they would be able to know that it should be there. And then if they click through and they can't access that, it's like you're hiding something that's theirs. And, I mean, it's just something so simple that it shouldn't, really even be an issue. I hope that makes sense.
Nicola, thank you for that. Not so much a question as a comment. One of the things I find very, very positive about your site, our site, is that it's got feedback built all the way through it.
It does.
So if you find a problem, you can say, I have a problem with this page. I'm not finding what I want, or it's wrong, or whatever. Now, I find that extremely positive and very encouraging, because it involves people, it engages people in being involved in changing the site. That's really not a question.
No, that's all right, Frank. I appreciate your comment, though. No, I think it's, you make a good point, though, that having obvious contact information can be a start as well, as a way that people go, oh, this didn't work. So from our site, there's a contact us button. So it does go to the support services generally rather than the website, but they will always forward it to us if it's website related, and we'll deal with it immediately. So they know they'll get a solution really quickly if they email. So rather than having it buried right down the bottom of the page, it's right at the top just under the header. So it's really central. People can find it really easily.